국내 언론에서 전하지 않는 뉴스, 지금 이 순간 폭스뉴스를 통해 확인하실 수 있습니다.
McDonald's.
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. I have your DoorDash order for you, Mr. President.
That's very nice. Look at this. This doesn't look staged, does it?
Special delivery at the White House. Somebody ordered some Big Macs with a side of blockade. President Trump promoting no tax on tips, flanked by an Arkansas grandma who pocketed $11,000 in tax-free tips last year. And while the president gets some delivery to the Oval, he's delivering some economic pain to Iran. We're 7 hours into Trump's naval blockade of the Strait of Hormuz after JD's peace talks in Pakistan this weekend stalled. The president keeping the DoorDasher by his side as he took questions from the press.
They'd like to make a deal very badly. They will never have a nuclear weapon. We're going to get the dust back. We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing. We have a blockade. They're doing no business. Do you think that men should play in women's sports?
I really don't have an opinion on that.
You don't, I'll bet you do.
No, I'm here about no
Pizza.
tax on tips.
Yeah.
Are the White House good tippers? Do you know?
Wait.
Potentially. Yes, very.
Meanwhile, the Dems' failed 2016 ticket, Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine, still whining about Trump ripping up Obama's terrible Iran nuke deal.
When we did the original talks, we had the P5+1, the original members of the Security Council plus Germany. But it was a real negotiation. So I worry that the United States is now in a very weak position vis-a-vis Iran.
I think that decision by President Trump to tear up a diplomatic deal will go down in history as one of the worst decisions in the foreign policy space ever made by an American president. If you make diplomacy impossible, you tend to make war inevitable.
This naval blockade, Dana, just getting started, already pretty effective.
So I think that it shows that, one, J.D. Vance went and he gave them a lot of time, and also he didn't drag it out. Okay, so you think about when you just hear Hillary Clinton's voice, I just remember covering that. Every week there was like another step in the negotiation, another step, and then the Iranians dragged the talks out forever. What I appreciated about this weekend is that, all right, I'll fly all the way over there. I will sit and I will listen. And I will give you our points, and we will draw some red lines, and you won't agree to them. So, okay, now we're going home. We're not going to sit here for weeks and do this over and over again. The other thing is, reportedly, I don't know this firsthand, but reportedly, J.D. Vance was not for this operation to begin with. Now he is gone. He's like, I tried, and now he can say, Mr. President, now we have to win this thing. We don't have a choice because the Strait of Hormuz is so critical. The blockade, I don't know if it will work in the long term, but it's interesting about the economic pain that Iran could feel from this. I'm curious, though, how much economic pain the Iranian regime will be able to stand, because their people, the people of Iran, have very little. And even when they were protesting, in order to try to placate them, the leadership in Iran said, we'll give you $7 a month more. And the Iranian people were like, yeah, that's not going to cut it. And they also wanted more freedoms. They were fighting for things. President Trump's help is on the way. This type of economic pain, though, is something that the actual regime might feel. Now, I'm worried about the people. You know that. The people of Iran. The regime, this one might force them to come to the table, or it will also force new bedfellows. So if they really did mine all of the strait, and we need help in figuring out where those mines are the British going to come? Because they are actually very good at that. We'd love your help. Then you think about the Arabian partners in the area who are like, we can't have this, so we want to help the Americans and the Israelis do this. In the meantime, Israel's finishing its job as well. So overall, I believe that when you hear Tim Kaine say, well, we had a better situation under the Obama deal, except that when Kushner and Witkoff were there at the table, the Iranians said, we have enough uranium for 11 bombs.
Right.
So how good was that deal?
Right, exactly. Harold, so we sailed 2 destroyers right through the strait. The Iranians said that they were going to bomb them. They didn't do anything about it. And now we're undertaking anti-mining operations. and the market likes it.
Good to be with you. First off, I like McDonald's. I was glad to see the president, and I eat McDonald's to my wife's chagrin, and Wendy's and Raising Cane's too, but it's another segment. I think the blockade has been a success in the short period of time we've had it. Some have suggested that maybe we should have started with the blockade. I don't know if I agree with that. I think we needed to. The efforts to take out a lot of their military, take out a lot of their leadership has certainly softened things. I think you've made that point, Jesse, over the last several days as well. So I think where we are is a good thing. The market likes the fact that the president's trying to negotiate some settlement, some agreement here, as we saw today with the market being down early and then rising later. I do hope, and I'm sure the president knows, what the market is looking for is something probably different than he's looking for. I think if the Strait of Hormuz is open, the markets will perform perhaps in historic ways over the next few weeks. The market, hopefully, will have this something to do with the president, what the vice president have made clear, which is to ensure that the Iranians do not get a nuclear weapon. I think the president is informing the country and helping the country to understand why this is so critically important. And hopefully, Democrats, Republicans alike, and even some of my party who have been the most outspoken, will appreciate that fact as well. For the president's right, we're going to need a bigger defense budget. We have half the ships that we had 10 years ago, 12 years ago in our military. The president's asked for $1.5 trillion for this, and I hope that the Congress, I hope they find ways in which they can cut certain things, maybe not child care, and I hope that those of us who have the means to perhaps pay a little more, will pay a little more to ensure that we have the kind of military that we need and the kind of military that is giving us the outcome we have here. But I give the president a lot of credit. I give the blockade more credit than some are giving it, particularly in my party. And I can only hope that they maintain the fortitude to ensure that they get a very, very good deal. I'm not as with them criticizing Obama as much because I think the Obama deal is a little better than some suggested, but he's in the position, President Trump, to get a much better deal today. And it's because of the blockade and because of the military operations. So
Right, and the ceasefire is over in 8 days, and you're going to see this strait opening up, hopefully really, really soon. And that creates a lot of pressure on the regime. There's still a shot at diplomacy.
There is. I think the massive issue that I have with Hillary Clinton's statements then and now and Tim Kaine's statements then and now is that they are treating negotiation with a terrorist regime and a terrorist state as normal diplomacy. And the reality is that it isn't. Everything I know, which is very little, but I learned it from Sarah Adams, who guided us in explaining that these terrorist regimes, just because they're sitting at the same table doesn't mean they have that shared interest in resolution. And we frame concessions as, oh, great, it's a step of alignment. Now we're sharing the path down together. But instead, it's actually them just trying to outlast and outmaneuver us. And what they have on their side is the time in terms of patience, that they will lay dormant for centuries until their dream is realized of absolutely annihilating us. They're not built toward compromise. They're built toward survival. And when we talk about sanctions, now, I agree that obviously their entire country has imploded economically. Their people are suffering, but they don't care. That's the whole point. They will never prioritize their population. They prioritize control. And every time we have relieved sanctions in the past, under Obama or under Biden, it does not lead to constraint on their part. It leads to them freaking out. It leads to them doing exactly what we should expect them to do and what we hope they don't do, which is scrambling to hurt us in all ways, shapes, and form. And so the other thing to remember is that Iran's occasional deception that we see, oh, there's still mines there, but we're not sure where they are, so you have to sail a little bit more north in our water. Deception is not occasional. It is all the time. It is what their strategy is based on. So does this mean we can't negotiate with them? No. But it means that we have to sort of portray the beast for what it is, which is a beast. This is not sitting across the table from a potential ally, and that's sad because they used to be an ally a long time ago. So these Democrats that are framing this as somehow failed or whatnot, I think see it as they thought it was some type of equal across the table instead of a vastly different type of monster. And this is also where our shared alliances in the Gulf allies and also Europe's allies need to step up to the plate because they will only survive and be well behaved with pressure from the entire globe. So we need our allies now more than ever.
And the president delivers the message to Iran next to a DoorDash delivery person. Last week it was the Easter Bunny.
Who cares about the population?
Right.
You give
Yeah, exactly.
It looks like, right?
Nice fat tip. You know what I did on this issue? I consulted other media, world media. I listened to, I got Al Jazeera on my tablet this morning. I kept Fox News on the TV, but I looked at Al Jazeera, also listened to BBC World Service last night. These are not pro-American news organizations, but they have a much more sanguine view of the blockade than the American media. It's surprising if you look at these things. I think also, I want to read this quote from Sultan Al Jaber. That's the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company. He tweeted out, "The Strait of Hormuz has never been Iran's to close or restrict through navigation. The world simply cannot afford it and must not allow it." The countries of the Middle East, the oil-producing countries and the non-oil-producing countries, are either positive on what Trump is doing, or they are craftily neutral. But if you look at the way the world is dealing with it, it's very different from the leftists in the Democratic Party and the U.S. media.
Completely different.
Can I say something?
I think they want Trump to fail, and I think the rest of these countries want the straight open. Go ahead.
I just want to point out that, Tom, you've really elevated the discourse on the show. You used the word sanguine and craftily in the same.
I like that. I like the term
Very
sanguine
good.
because it means
Yeah.
bloody, and I have the ruddy
Very
cheeks, so I see.
It was impressive.
It's a good word for
I
me.
think I brought it down because when you said craftily, I thought she's crafty from the Beastie Boys. My mind goes in a different
And
direction.
Emily, keep your ears open because up next, Swallow.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.